Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, my good friend George Harris joins us. He's the publisher of Liberty Watch magazine, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Do you play golf? The Optimist Club of Reno is hosting the inaugural Ray Pezzanella Memorial Charity Golf Tournament on June 3rd at the Lake Course at Red Hawk Golf and Resort. For more information, go to pezgolf.org. Funds raised go to benefit local children's programs.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are always pleased to welcome back to the program George Harris. In this edition, he is the publisher of Liberty Watch magazine. Pleasure to have you back on the program, sir.
Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate always that you invite me on and we are able to talk issues and discuss what's best for the state of Nevada.
Well, also, I want to discuss how the war in Ukraine is going to affect the elections in this country, and in particular the state of Nevada. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's volatile. You see what the stock market's doing. We have a little concern. I'm ex-military, so I still know a bunch of guys that work in Special Operations Command, and there is a legitimate concern that this tyrant, crazy man, might use some sort of small, very, very small nuclear device.
And what would be the effect of that? I mean, realistically, we are in World War III, let's face it. I mean, we are not.
Sam, realistically, we are not, and please don't make statements that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Here's the absolute facts of what are going to happen short term. The stock market will crash. The world will come together and denounce this guy. Even the Chinese will jump on and denounce him. And, I think you're looking for a rough summer. I really do. Okay,
so in the defense of my comment earlier, you have the entire Western Alliance, NATO, the European Union, everybody, it seems, with few exceptions, lining up with the United States and sending military to Ukraine to reinforce them. NATO has never been stronger. Yes, we're not seeing Russia attack the entire world, but in terms of reality, God forbid that there should be a nuclear weapon used, but the amount of money and weaponry that's being used has not been seen on this scale since World War II.
Well, that's true. Sam, as I've told you on previous shows, Putin is the modern day Adolf Hitler. The difference is that technology is in the play right now. And though he talks about all the hackers he has coming against us, and the Chinese and North Korea believe it or not, Sam, we are far superior to anyone on this planet when it comes to hacking.
Oh, listen, I would agree with you on every level, militarily.
So I'm not as concerned as most people. I'm concerned that there are forces that are manipulating this war to their means and their ends. But the reality is, the Ukraine is a very small country, and that Russia, that he's only doing this in his own backyard. You will not see Vladimir Putin. You're not going to see him try to run into Poland or anything like that. It's never going to happen.
Well, I certainly hope you're correct on that. But now let me get back to a part of my original question, was how does this affect the elections in the United States and in particular in Nevada?
Well, in the United States, I told you short term, the stock market's going to be a rough summer for the stock market, but in the fourth quarter, everything will straighten out. We unfortunately will go into a recession sometime around the 10th or 15th of January. And I know you always get frustrated when I give you those specific dates, but remember, way back a month after Trump was defeated or cheated, which most people on the planet believe, I told you that by July, gas would be around $5 a gallon. And obviously I was proven wrong, because it's $5.25, and I've reset that to, I think gas will be $6 a gallon. So in Nevada and nationally, the Republicans are going to sweep into office because everybody is angry about paying $6 a gallon for gas. And the blame can be put right at the Biden's feet and right at all these far left lunatics that believe that the energy policy is wrong. I mean, they stopped allowing you to drill. They stopped all this stuff, which we need to have to be an independent nation. And now we're paying, through the year. In fact, believe it or not, Sam, as embarrassing as this is, we're making Putin. We're probably indirectly funding the war for him because we're buying so much oil through those guys.
Okay, so let's deal with several of the issues that you raised here. Definitely because of the oil sales and gas sales in Europe. Europe is desperately trying to figure out how to avoid giving the Russians gas. As we are taping this morning, they've cut off supplies to Poland. So yes, I would agree with you there. Whether Trump was cheated out of the election or not, I think that's not something that everybody agrees on. It's something that's very debatable at this point in time. As far as drilling goes, I think that you are seeing this administration being forced to reconsider its positions on all kinds of environmental issues because of the price of gasoline. But hang on a second. I let you say your part. Let me respond here. We're seeing, certainly in northern Nevada, at Costco, the price of gas has dropped to around $4.79. Not inexpensive, but certainly has dropped over the last week or so. And, is that a response to the release of oil from the Strategic Oil Reserve? They're going to release 1 million gallons a day all the way through the election. Or is that some kind of cooperation between the administration and the oil companies because we're not getting cooperation from Saudi Arabia or the rest of OPEC to cut the price of oil?
They're going to release a whole 1 million gallons of oil, 1 million barrels of oil a day. Sam, we use 25 to 30 million barrels of oil a
It's
day.
Perception, though. It's perception.
But here's the reality.
It's a talking point.
They made that decision 3 days ago. Logistically, the reason the sales price went down at Costco, because Costco is a phenomenally brilliant, wealthy company.
Well, it's going down everywhere. It's just that's the lowest price.
Who can afford to put gas out at their cost to bring customers in to increase their retail side. You put gas out at cost and you increase your retail sales by 4 to 6%, and people don't see it's not, well, it is, it's still inflation, but then those people come into the store, they buy more product, they get the same profit, probably actually a larger profit.
Okay, so
don't be fooled by these folks. These are very smart people.
Okay, but hang on a second. Well, hang on a second here. We're getting hung up on Costco.
We quit
all
drilling.
The gas prices in Reno are dropping. So I don't know what it's like in Las Vegas, but you're seeing gasoline having dropped. And again, I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's dropped below $5 a
Gas in
gallon.
Las Vegas today is $5.29 a gallon on the average. Okay. And gas in Reno, Sam, whether you want to agree with this, on average is over $5 a gallon. I don't know what it is up there.
Probably, but it depends on whether you're smart and buy, at a brand name gas station or a non-brand name gas station. And I agree with you. We're at the point here, I would presume, where it totally makes sense for fracking to come back online, and that would help to make us energy independent again.
Sam, let's talk a little bit about logistics, because I know you it's a difficult thing to discuss, and you're not, versed on it, but you can start fracking tomorrow. You can start allowing the gas to be refined tomorrow, but it takes 90 to 120 days to implement all that stuff. Now,
George, I totally agree with you.
When they get that done, then your next major problem is, thank God we have the Nevada Trucking Association. Paul should be around there somewhere. They don't have truckers to deliver it. So, Sam, this Biden administration is the most inept, incompetent administration. They're more incompetent than Jimmy Carter. That's just the facts.
Well, history will either prove that or not. But the bigger question, though, is the overall inflation. And I want to bring it back to Nevada. That's where people are really seeing it. So it's a combination of things like gas prices, but also going to the grocery store and trying to buy a pound and a half of bacon for over $10.
Right, Sam, there's a bunch of different variables in it, but the largest variable is logistically being able to transport everything. Those costs have tripled in some places. Now, let's look at the fact. The most insidious tax you can place on your people is inflation. And this administration, through these Democrats, through Horsford, through Lee, through Cortez Masto, they have allowed this to take place. None of them have ever stood up and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" They just punched the ticket. They're a rubber stamp for this administration. This administration is inept, and that's the nicest thing you can say is they're inept. I would tell you that if you put Sigal Chada in charge, she would file a RICO case against them because they're probably criminal.
Okay, so let's back up a second, because the inflation has been caused by the amount of money being dumped into the economy. And it's not just this administration, it's the past two administrations. So yes, it is. The amount of money that came in through the COVID response began in the Trump administration and continued on, and Republicans and Democrats all voted for it.
Sam, that's true. But the amount of money, they print so much money every day. Today, when the Democrats took control.
That's the Federal Reserve.
When the Democrats took control, they gave the Federal Reserve the authorization to print whatever they wanted to print, and they printed a lot of money. We've printed so much money, it's just absolutely embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And they'll tell you, oh, inflation's like 8.5%. Sam, the reality is inflation's somewhere around 12 to 14%. Okay? You just can't believe these people. And
well,
they're very manipulative, and they have an agenda, and they have something that they're trying to push off. Their narrative is to control the people. Now the people have an opportunity to put a stop to it, and they can do that in this election cycle.
Okay, and hang on one second here, because I got to tell you something. I used to be a weatherman on television for 23 years, and the two people that are able to keep their jobs, no matter how wrong they are weathermen and economists. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
In Steve Sisolak's Nevada, criminals are free to walk our streets, and it's harder for police to do their jobs. He made our elections less secure, now the worst in the nation. Joe Lombardo's Nevada? Safer, more secure. Increased penalties for violent crime, and more cops on our streets. He'll require photo ID to vote and make ballot harvesting a crime again. Joe Lombardo, restoring our values and keeping us safe.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years.
Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with my good friend George Harris. He is the publisher of Liberty Watch magazine. You guys put out the new magazine, and you've got a whole host of endorsements. Before we get to them, I just wanted to start out with the Tarkanian-Amodei race. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think much about Danny Tarkanian.
Why?
Look, Danny's a lot like Adam Laxalt. He's just a self-centered, self-absorbed, snot-nosed little brat. Adam Laxalt voted 91% of the time with Trump. He is, look, they love to say that they go, well, you know, the problem is Mark Amodei can't raise money. Well, I've known Mark for years, like you, and I go to Mark, and Mark says, okay, George, I'm running for re-election again. I go, okay. He goes, hey, I think I need about $305,000. I said, okay. Mark goes out, raises his $305,000 and wins the race. He doesn't need $1 million. And, you know, and that right there tells you he's conservative. Mark is, when he gets reelected, and Mark will be reelected in a massive landslide, the Republicans will sweep in, they'll take control of the Congress. Mark's seniority will give him a chairmanship of a large committee, which will benefit the state of Nevada. But Danny is so narcissistic, he's got to have his name out there. So,
all right, let's move on to the Senate race. You've had no qualms about supporting Captain Sam Brown. Raised another $1 million in this last reporting period. That is a phenomenal amount of money for somebody who was a complete unknown a year ago.
Well, and he outraised Adam Laxalt. Now, Adam Laxalt announced that he raised $1.4 million, but what he didn't tell you is that over 60% of that money can only be used in a general election. So Sam probably outraised Adam by some $260,000. And so Sam's a much superior candidate. Look, Adam Laxalt's a flawed candidate for a myriad of reasons. One, he's phenomenally narcissistic. He's very self-centered. He's really not a Nevadan. He didn't grow up here.
Well, neither is Captain Brown. Captain Brown was last living in Texas and ran in Texas.
Then you can interrupt me. He didn't grow up here. He went to every elite school of elite schools. He is endorsed by Mitt Romney. He is endorsed by Mitch McConnell. That should put chills down every conservative's spine. Sam wasn't raised here either. Okay. Sam moved here a couple of years after Adam. But for Adam to go around and his campaign with this whisper campaign saying that Sam Brown's a carpetbagger is just absolute nonsense.
Okay, all right, George, hang on a second, because we do have limited time here, even though you're my favorite guest. Mm-hmm. The Republican Party, a good friend of yours has been quoted many times as saying, never loses the opportunity to miss an opportunity. And with you going after Mitch McConnell and the Republican Party, aren't you just splitting up the party at a time when the party needs to be united? And so if you're going after your own people, where are you going to end up?
Sam, thank you for showing the Democrat narrative. Sam, I'm concerned about one thing, being a true Republican, not a rhino.
What does that mean?
That means that Mitch McConnell is absolutely a Republican in name only. He has been.
You look at the Supreme Court that he is nursed through.
Every Republican out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Mitt Romney is an absolute embarrassment. Okay. And that's who Adam has hooked his ships to. Adam's got every single every Washington Beltway guy Adam touts around, okay? This is about for being Nevadans. This is about for the people, okay? And it's just, you will see come election day, everyone's going to be surprised because people are angry at the way that the establishment is telling them how they need to live and operate.
Okay, so we're going to have a debate here on Nevada Newsmakers on May the 9th between Adam Laxalt and Sam Brown, and it'll be interesting.
Get to these other races.
I understand. This is still my show, so if you don't mind, let's conduct it at my pace, and you know you're always welcome back. But anyway, we will have the debate, and we will get to see both sides here, and both can answer questions, and the people can make up their own mind. In the governor's race, you have three what I would consider top-tier candidates in Joe Lombardo, the race is amazing. Dean Heller is up there. John Lee is up there. You endorsed Joey Gilbert. Now, Joey Gilbert has made a lot of noise, has gotten a lot of publicity, especially in places like Facebook. But isn't he going to have to spend an incredible amount of money to catch up with any of those three leaders?
First of all, none of them are three leaders. There's polling.
Well, according to the polling, they are.
Okay, and there's Sam. Polls are a snapshot of period in time. Okay, I was in West Wendover, Nevada, Sam. West Wendover, and the mayor told you this. Okay, Joey Gilbert shows up to West Wendover, Nevada. 600 people show up to listen to him. 600 people have never shown up for Joe Lombardo for any other candidate. Period. Joey Gilbert is in Pahrump, Nevada. 900 people show up. Listen, this guy is honest. He's been fighting the true fight for the citizens. He has not charged anybody a dime. He and Sigal Chadha have acted on behalf of the people during the pandemic. They sued the governor. They went all the way to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to allow people to go back to church. I mean, this guy has been out walking the walk, talking the talk, fist fighting every single day. All right. These other guys, they're all nice people, but there's a massive group of people that helped make this decision to endorse these people. And it came across from everyone that Joey would be the right person to run against Steve Sisolak because he will stand up to Steve Sisolak. He will point out everything that Steve Sisolak has destroyed in our state. But more than that, he is the only candidate that's got a true grasp of the absolute massive problem within the education system.
Okay, we have to take a quick break here. We'll be right back. I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker, and you've got a lot of convention space and meeting breakout space for people. Tell us about what's available.
Well, we can handle a group up to about 250, and anywhere as small as 10 or 15. So it really depends on what you're looking for, what the customer's looking for. We're open to anything. It's a beautiful drive, and if you live in South Reno, it's probably about 30-35 minutes, so it's real easy to get to. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Mark Amadei just spent $1.5 trillion of our tax dollars. And how did he spend it? $870 million to secure borders of Middle East countries and $3 million a day not to build our border wall. $600 million funding Planned Parenthood. He even approved money to threaten gun owners. Why did Emma Day vote for this reckless inflationary budget?
It was going to pass anyhow.
No courage to fight, no guts to say no.
My name is Danny Tarkanian. I'm running for Congress, and I approve this message.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with my brother, George Harris. He's the publisher of Liberty Watch Magazine. For a full list of the endorsements, go to libertywatchmagazine.com. Correct?
That's good, Sam. libertywatchmagazine.com.
Okay, we got about a minute left. Hang on. We got about a minute left, and you've got a big event coming up that's featuring Mike Pompeo. Just give us a brief description of what's going on there.
Women's Resource Center, the 13th of May in Las Vegas. Go online. Mike Pompeo's coming to speak. They'll probably have 1,800 people there. It's going to be a great night. I want to talk about the Attorney General's race. It's very important.
Okay, you got 10 seconds.
All right, Sigal Chadha. That's who everybody wants. She's the one who will protect you. Her opponent gave $30,000 to Steve Sisolak. Don't be read the magazine, do your own study, everyone. It's very important. Don't take my word for it. Go online, read about these candidates, because there's a lot of them out there that will tell you what you want to hear.
Okay, and George, that's where we have to leave it. I love you. Thank you for doing this as always. And people need to go to libertywatchmagazine.com and get all these endorsements and then look at all their other resources and figure out where they want to vote. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks, Sam. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Because of UMC, I'm putting my free time to good use.
Because of UMC, she keeps me on my toes.
Because of UMC and this guy, I'm here.
UMC, the highest level of care in Nevada.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com. You can also check our archive going back to 2005 on our website. Again, nevadanewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.